Greetings, friends! So today we are going to go ahead and paint our own sunshade. Now, if anybody's not familiar with what a sunshade is, it's one of these bad boys. So my family's actually originally from Arizona, and they're extremely common in areas that get a lot of extra sunshine. You stick them in your car window and hey, you know, it helps your car not get fried by the sunshine. In the Pacific Northwest, we have been going through a major heat wave, and so especially with all the extra sunshine and the extra heat, it's been particularly important to have a sunshade recently. So my old one got all used up. It was completely fried. The whatever it is, the bubbles or something that help it actually keep rigidity got completely toasted, and it would no longer stay upright in my windshield. So it was time to get a new one, and did some heavy duty shopping. Couldn't find any I liked. So I decided to put my patented art skills to work and go ahead and design my own. Hopefully some of you guys find this helpful, and if you want to do the same thing, I would love to see what you create. Without further ado, let's get into the meat of this video.
To start us off, we're going to need a plain silver sunshade properly fitted to the size of your car, nail polish remover for cleaning up, as well as Q-tips to get those fine details, a silver marker if you have one, and markers in the colors that you're actually going to want your art. Alcohol inks. These ones actually have a bunch of pearl and metallic, so they're really shiny and pretty. A variety of paintbrushes to use with the alcohol inks. And finally, a dish to put the alcohol inks into. The first step is to lay out the sunshade so that you can sketch your design onto it. Because mine is an accordion style, I did need to go ahead and pin the corners so that it wasn't trying to fold up on me while I was in the middle of doing my sketch. Once I had flattened the sunshade enough to work with, I decided to go in and do my first sketch with a silver marker, since I knew that this would be the easiest to go back and erase or make changes to if I made any mistakes. And although it's difficult to see here, I decided to go with a dragonfly design for my sunshade. Once I had my finished sketch, I went over it with a layer of blue, just so that you guys would be able to see what I did. And then I used my nail polish remover and Q-tip to lighten up the blue so that it wouldn't interfere with my final painting and show through in the colors. But again, the blue was solely for the visibility in this video, so I highly recommend skipping this step because it was kind of a pain in the tailbone. So for those of you following along, once you've finished your sketch with the silver marker, go ahead and trace over it with whatever color you think you're going to want your final painting to have. This will give you an opportunity to test out your vision and just double check that the colors you've chosen are actually going to make you happy in the end. For my sunshade, my vision was to go ahead and have it be a rainbow of color, so I move across each of my dragonflies, tracing over them through the colors of the LiQWYD bib. And sorry, but my camera ended up turning off without me noticing, so I didn't actually get any film of what the final sketch in color looked like, but I was really happy with it, so I decided to move to the next step, which was to paint. The reason I chose alcohol inks for this project is because it's really easy to control the opacity by mixing in a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and you can actually make the alcohol inks look really cool and see-through, almost like stained glass. But in the end, I ended up deciding that I actually wanted a more thorough, opaque covering on my dragonflies, so I didn't really mix in any rubbing alcohol so that I could get a really thick layer of paint. I was also excited about the fact that alcohol inks are waterproof, so if I get any water on this, I don't have to freak out and worry that it's going to ruin the entire thing. But the downside is I wasn't able to really verify how UV resistant alcohol inks are, so it's going to be kind of a test of time to see how long the paint will actually last with this being in the sunshine. And for the final step, I went in with my markers and colored the fabric around the edges of the sunshade. To continue the theme, I went with the colors of the rainbow, and I tried to gauge my coloring around the edges so that it was tied pretty closely with, you know, the reds being the same area as the red dragonflies, orange with orange, so on and so forth. And just because I'm a picky bugger, I did go in and do one more final cleanup, erasing any areas that I felt weren't neat and then repainting to give a good clean coat. But this really was just my perfectionism showing, and you guys don't have to do this step if you don't want to. And here is the big reveal. This is what the finished piece looked like. I really love the way that the colors turned out, the vibrancy that I was able to get from the alcohol inks, the extra shine that comes through, especially with having the silver background beneath it. And it looks absolutely resplendent in my car, if I do say so myself.
Congrats! You made it to the end. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey, and I look forward to seeing you next time.